Hi guys, welcome to our channel. Let's talk operation management. I hope that you guys are doing well. You are safe and sanitized. Today we're gonna talk about focusing. I'm pretty sure that this is not the first time you hear the word focusing, because if you have done operation management, even if you are in business, you will know that focusing is actually one of the most important topics in operation management and in business. And it actually allows us to know a lot about business, allowed what we can predict and all these things. So without further ado, as far as this chapter is concerned, first we're going to start with the strategic importance of focusing on the human resource, on the capacity planning, on the supply chain management. We are also going to talk about the different focusing approach, what is the overview of qualitative method and quantitative method. Then we will talk about the time series, the composition of time series, and mainly the naive approach. Then we will talk about also the moving average, the exponential smoothing, and so on. I'm pretty sure that most of you already are acquainted yourself with this part, because you actually heard about it in a way or in another. But before going any further, have you ever wondered why shops like McDonald's, like Burger King, like KFC, Chicken Lick, and Nando's, like Macro, and all these things? But let me just try to focus more on this brand that I hear. McDonald's, for example. No. Let me go for KFC. If you visit KFC kitchen in the evening or before they close, you will find out that they hardly have leftovers of chicken. Well, obviously, some of you will say when they are done with it, the workers take it and all this thing. That might be a possibility, but even though they are leftovers, those leftovers are not in huge quantity. Why? Because they have already forecasted. They make sure that whatever we're gonna produce or whatever we're gonna sell today, let it be the full amount of our stock. So if, for example, we want to sell 50,000 units, let's make sure that there will be a demand of 50,000 units. How do we go about that? How do I know that tomorrow I need to have 30,000 units into my account because all of them are going to be sold? How do I know that this is the amount of customers that I'm going to get? This is what we talk about now as focusing. So that's why we say that focusing is a process of predicting the future. Now, focusing is very important. Right now, the whole world and in South Africa, we are now stuck with coronavirus because we didn't actually forecast it. We didn't foresee it. Imagine if last year in June, we knew already that in 2020, beginning of 2020, there will be this virus that will be a pandemic that will cause nations, countries to go in lockdown. All the situation that we are going through right now would have not been the same. Online teaching would have been facilitated, whereby students were already being trained how to use devices, how to go with online teachings, and all these things. Businesses would have taken already measures, and we would have not been going through whatever we are going right now. We are going through right now. This is actually the importance of focusing. Now, because we didn't focus for so many reasons, we didn't know. Nobody nobody saw this coming. We were in a position whereby it just took us by surprise, and nobody wants this to happen. Now, imagine if this is your business. You didn't forecast that tomorrow you're going to have this huge amount of customers that are going to come. This is what you're going to do. And you just open your shop in the morning, boom, a queue of 50 people that are waiting outside for a product that you don't even have in your stock. It's a catastrophe. So that's why focusing is important, because it allows us actually to predict what can be the demand, to predict what can be the different circumstances that can happen in our supply chain, that can happen in our facility, and how do we go about that. So let me give you an example of the use of forecasting in a business organization. This is the part where we are talking about the importance of focusing on the different functions of the department. There's this company here that manufacture hoodies, and this company is called Conscient. They're manufacturing different types of hoodies. They want to release one of the latest hoodies, for example. The first thing that they have to do first, they have to deal with the accounting, whereby they will tell that we want to manufacture this product A, B, C, D, and this is the amount of cost. This is the amount of money that we will need, or the cost of the product, and we would like to manufacture maybe 50,000 units, and we will need this budget. After that, there's the human resource. Because we want to manufacture 50,000 unit, obviously we will need people. We will need manpower that is going to work for delivery, that's going to work to sue for packaging and all those informations. We will need a budget for that. Actually, this referred to human resource, one of the previous chapters we did recently. If you didn't watch it, just go watch that video so that you get a clear idea of what is human resource and how it is related to operation management. Then after that, we deal with marketing. Marketing, this is where actually we're talking about, this is the product that we have introduced. This is how we're going to sell it. This is the platform that we will use. These are the kind of customers, this is the target market and all this information. These are the prices, the promotion, and the global competition strategies that we can use actually to go about selling our product. Next, we also have operations. Because I want to manufacture 50,000 units, when should I start? This leads you back to aggregate planning that we discussed also in one of the previous videos. There's also capacity planning that we'll do later. There's work assignment, workload, inventory planning, make or buy. What are the different decisions that I'm going to take based on the amount of unit that I would like to produce? So you understand that forecasting is not only related to operation management. Forecasting is related to so many things. So by the time I want to produce, it doesn't only involve operation, it involves finance, it involves human resource, it involves marketing, it involves a lot of things. They all come in together as a package. Then next, we have the forecasting time horizons. So even if you want to forecast, for example, there are different things that one company can forecast in a short time, another one that they can forecast in medium, and another one that they can forecast maybe in the long term. If we come back to the example of the coronavirus, you find out that there are some people like Bill Gates, for example, in 2018, he already said that there will be a pandemic like that, even though he didn't mention the time, because forecasts are not accurate, that we're going to see in the next slides to come. So you just understand that there are different time horizon. Let me give you an example. The first one is a short time range forecast. This one is a forecast that is casual generally. It just can go to a maximum of a year. It's generally less than 3 months, but the maximum is just a year. It involves purchasing, job scheduling, workforce level, job assignment, and so on. We can easily forecast that in the next, for example, companies right now are saying that right after the lockdown, this amount of job will be lost. It's part of the workforce level. It is part of job scheduling and job assignment, because this one is a short-term thing. We don't need 5 years to say, for example, that I'm going to fire this employee because they are not producing as they are supposed to. Those one are short-term forecasting. Then you have medium range forecast. This one, they generally range from 3 months to 3 years. They involve generally sales, production, planning, budgeting. If a company, for example, would like to introduce a new product, generally it falls under medium range. Because we want to introduce a new product, we just need to find out about them on the market, if they will like it or not, then they will introduce. If, for example, a company would like to introduce a new phone on the market, it's something that can take 6 to 12 months or 1 or 2 years. So it's not something that will require so much time, but it's not also something that will take a lot of time. It will take just less than a year. It's something that can generally take an average amount of time. Then next we have the long range forecast. The long range forecast, this one is a forecast that takes more than 3 years or 3 years. One of the forecast that comes in the most it's facility location. Like if a company would like to expand their branches, for example, from Routing to, for example, Cape Town, it is something that you will do in a matter of years. You don't just wake up in the morning and you start moving it. So you will notice, for example, that the different concept inside every range are generally the same in the different chapters that we're doing. I remember when we were talking about aggregate planning, they were also talking about the planning horizon, where the medium, the long, and the long, the medium, and the short one. And when you look at the different component of these times horizon, they are generally the same. Location is something that always take a long term, whether it involve hiring people, whether it involve changing the facility for business, whether it involve forecasting or aggregate planning. When you look at medium range, we generally have sales, production planning. When you look at the short term, we generally have workforce level, job assignment, production level. So all those things come together as a package. They will hardly change. So there's now what we call a product life cycle. What is a product life cycle? Like everyone, we die. Well, we are born first, we grow up, we become teenagers, and then there'll be a time whereby you'll just go through your 20s and with the stress of life, and then a time whereby you settle down, you have a job, you are married, and you die. Well, yeah, it's a sad reality. But then every product, even the product that we are manufacturing now, they still have a life cycle. The life cycle is the time whereby a product start living, it is introduced on the market, it's growing, and all these things. So every product has a life cycle, not necessarily with the same lifespan, but at least they have a life cycle. For example, the life cycle of a car is not the same life cycle, for example, of a phone, because there are two different products with two different demand, with two different use, but at least we need to agree that they have a life cycle. Likewise, the lifespan of a human being is not the same thing as the lifespan of a dog. For example, dogs can maybe live for 10 years, while human being can live maybe from an average of 55 years old. So what are the different cycles that you find in a product life? For example, the first one is the introduction phase. What happened in the introduction phase? The product design and the development of a product is critical. There's frequent product and process design change, there's short production run, and there's higher production cost. Why in the introduction phase, most of the time there's not a lot of product? Because you are introducing the product on the market. Few people know about it. We cannot take the risk to manufacture a lot of them. What if people don't like? An example with it will mainly be the iPhone SE, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, there's an iPhone SE that has just been released recently, beginning of 2020, and in South Africa I think it just got introduced recently. It's on the market now. It has been introduced in South Africa in March 2020. It is a new product. Few people know about it. It's one of the smartphones that are not very expensive. While compared to a smartphone, it's not very expensive. It's also not cheap. It's just an average price. But this product is not really well sold for now. Why? It is the introduction phase. It is coming at a phase whereby people are broke with this corona thing and all these things. People don't have enough money to buy it. So even the phone itself, we don't hear a lot about it because it's still in the introduction phase. We have limited model, we have limited colors, we have limited features because it is still in the introduction phase. Generally, what happens, we assume that the sales are increasing or they are going to increase with time. Obviously, from day one, the sales are not the same as day two. It is just normal that they increase. Then next, we have the growth phase. In the growth phase, the forecasting is critical because we need to know, for example, how many units should we sell, what are the different challenges that we are going to encounter, and all these things. So the product and the process, we also need to check the product and the process reliability. We need to check competitive product improvement and options. We need to increase the capacity to shift to our product focus. One of the most popular product right now are the corona mask. This mask right now, everyone is now making masks. When you look at the virus, when it was when the virus started around February, like January, February, March, there were masks, but mainly it was people that were in hospital. It was mainly for medical staff. Few people were just wearing masks. But now that we are actually at the peak level, or we are just going through the virus crisis, you find out that everyone now is making masks. On YouTube, they'll tell you how to make masks with a pair of socks. Other people are just making masks in disorder everywhere, like everyone is just making masks. So this is the part where we talk about competitive product. This is where now people find out that masks are important. I can make money, so people start making masks, fancy masks. Some others are just making, those ones of mask and all these things. So the mask right now, they are at a growth phase whereby they've been introduced to the market. People are interested in it. Competition is now coming. Instead of just making medical masks, why don't we make, for example, masks that look like this? Why don't we make masks that are passing a specific message? For example, these are in the growth phase. This is where you start now manufacturing. You will also find out, for example, even with smartphones, when they are in the growth phase, you'll find out that competitors start coming, producing other different types of smartphone, but you'll find out that the difference is not the same. The difference is not generally huge. The camera will most of the time be on the left. If it's not the left, it's the right. That will generally have this shape. You cannot remove your battery and all this thing because the product is growing. People are interested in it. Let's also produce something that is also in the same direction. Next thing By this time here, by the growth phase, the product is still demanded. If you look at the example of mask right now, they are still demanded because they're under growth. That means the sales are still going to increase. Then next, we have the maturity phase. In the maturity phase, we got standardization of product. We have free product change. We have more minor changes. We have optimum capacity. We have increased the stability of the product and all these things. What happened in this phase is that the product is already there. People know it. So there's no even need to make new update, for example, on the product. So the product is there. People are used to it. We're just selling it. We don't have a lot of it in stock, but we don't have few. We just have the right quantity. This is what is happening, for example, with smartphones. I mean, with smart TVs and LCDs. You will find out that an LCD is an LCD. Whenever they have released, for example, one, the shape is generally the same. Maybe they'll come up with few features left and right, but it is just there. Everyone knows what is a smart TV, what is an LCD. It is different like how it used to be in 2005. In that phase, it was the growth phase. The growth phase, because people were getting used to these and it was fancy. But now it's just normal to see a smart TV or an LCD. So at this point, the product is still being sold, but it's not like something, it's wow, it's just there. We like it, we enjoy it, and that's it. Now, when you look at the decline phase, this is actually where the products start declining. We don't produce much of it. There's no even differentiation. We don't produce many colors, many size. The product is just there, you know it. And the cost generally tend to decrease because we have some stock that is there. Let's just try to stock out whatever we have in the inventory. Let's try to do some promotion, buy one get one for free, buy one and we will deliver for free, and all these kind of things. So the items are not running good margin or of benefit, so we need to reduce the quantity. This is why generally the product die. And an example with this will be the PS3. When you look at the PS3 right now, there's no major update. They don't change the color, they don't change the joysticks, they are still the same. Even the games that are coming out, well, they are still there, but it's not like right now the PS5 that is about to come out. They are giving us already hints here and then. Everyone is excited about this. So when you look at the PS3 right now, it's not a product that is highly demanded. When you look at the PS4, for example, it might be in the maturity phase, because right now everyone knows about PS4. It's not trending, but it's just there. We like it, and this is where generally the prices start decreasing. So when you look at all this information and you compare, for example, to the life cycle of a human, the introduction phase would be the phase where the baby is born. When the baby is born, everyone like it. It's cute. You post these pictures on Instagram, and whenever it does things, you're like, oh, because it's a new baby, everyone likes it. Then we go in the growth phase. Growth phase, you're still cute, you're still a nice baby, life is still nice, you start meeting friends, you don't know that life can just bring you a lot of challenges. And in this phase, that is a phase whereby you are likely to make a lot of friends. Then you go in the maturity phase. Maturity phase, well, in that you are just in life for the sake of being there. You cannot kill yourself because, well, it's a crime and your family will miss you. So you are just in life for the sake of being in it. You have grown up, you don't have a lot of friends. People are not excited when they see you. They are not sad when they see you. They are just, yeah, it's Eric. Okay, hi Eric, how are you? But when it's a baby, different. We're like, oh, this is your new baby. Everyone is excited about the baby. So the maturity phase, this is the same thing with a human being. We're not excited when you see, for example, Zuma talking. He's already there. Well, Zuma is talking and life goes on. Then when you look at the decline phase, this is the phase whereby, well, you are now interested. Well, we still give you some attention, but we made it in life, and you are just there. You're just waiting for death to come. But it life, it happens. This is the decline phase, even for a product. This is the same thing. So now you will find out that different products have different lifespan, like I told you. The way, for example, you gonna look at the product life cycle of a car, which might be maybe 10 to 15 years, even 20 years, is different from a smartphone. A car, for example, there are some cars until now they are still in the maturity phase. There are some other cars until now they are still in the growth phase, because, for example, electric cars, they are still in the growth phase. There are some other areas of the car of the world whereby electric cars are still not there. Even though there are some products that can take even 10 to 15 years in the growth phase. There are some other product that will take maybe 10 to 15 years in the decline phase. They are there, the product is not yet dead, but it's just there. While there are some product, they come today in May, and by September they will already be in the decline phase. It just depends on the product, on the specification, on the need of the population or the market. So there's no standard life cycle of any product. Next, we have the forecasting method. When you look at the forecasting method, in this part, we are talking about how do you forecast, which method do you use. I have a shop, I have a business, but I don't know exactly how many people I should accommodate. I don't know exactly how many units I should keep in my inventory so that I don't make loss. So how do I go about that? There are different practices. When you look at them, there's the naive approach, the moving average, the weight moving average, the exponential moving average. But these ones here are methods that are generally concerned with quantitative approach with calculation. I'm going to try to take these ones a bit deeper toward the end of the video, because this is why we are enumerating these ones here. So I'm going to skip this part to go straight to the types of forecast. Then we will talk about the forecasting approach. Then I'm going to take you back to the previous slide where I'm going to try to explain a bit more further. So as far as we know, first, the different types of forecast. There's the economic forecast, the technological forecast, and the demand forecast. The economic forecast generally address the business cycle. We talk about inflation rate, we talk about money, we talk about commodities like oil, like food, and all these things. This one is economic forecast. When you look at the news in the morning, they'll tell you, for example, that the rand is trade at this rate and all these things. There are higher chances by the end of the day it will be like this. People that are doing trading, for example, can understand what we're talking about economic forecast. Then we have technological forecast. This one, it predict the rate of technological progress, impact development of new product. When you look at this part here, this is where we talk about now. We are forecasting actually the technology. There are some products that you cannot produce right now because the technology cannot allow you to, the current technology. But this same product 5 years from now, you can be able to produce them because the technology will allow you to do that. So as a company, you should be able to know that in the next 5 years, this is how the technology is going to be. So let me try to accommodate my business based on the new technology that's going to come. For example, businesses that were using Windows XP are now struggling compared to companies that are using Windows 7 or Windows 10 or Windows 8, because the new technology now requires powerful computers for data analysis, for all those things, and it is better to update also your system. Today we're talking about 5G. Just a year ago we're talking about 5G like a myth, but now 5G is just around the corner. And if you want to be successful in your business, you need also to have technologies that are also coping. Not only technology, because there will be 5G, I need a new workforce, or I need to train my workforce to understand the use of technology. How do I incorporate technology in my business? Because as we are moving on now, you find out that during this corona period, companies that are dealing with technology are the ones that are actually competing. We're dealing with deliveries, we're dealing with online market and all those things. And if you are not able to accommodate your business according to the new technology, there are higher chances that your business is going to go down in the next 5 to 10 years because you didn't forecast technology. Then the demand forecast. This is actually what we are doing here in operation management. We're talking about predicting sales and existing product or service. This one here, you're just saying that I'm predicting that tomorrow this is the amount of unit that I'm gonna have. After tomorrow, this is the number of unit that I'm going to sell. So this is what refer to the demand forecast. So it is something that is mainly related to business. This is how it works. Then next we have the steps in forecasting. When we're dealing with forecasting, what is the step that you need to follow? The first one, you need to determine the use of the forecasting. Why am I doing this forecast? Is it for technology? Is it for demand? Is it for the commodities and all those things? By the time you determine, it will help you it will give you a clear perspective of where you want to go. You need to select the items that you need to forecast. What items do I need to focus? Do I need to focus the employment rate? Do I need to focus the number of employees that I'm going to add? Do I need to focus the number of units that I'm going to sell? Do I need to focus my location or whatever I want to do? All these things are things that you need to focus. Then you need to determine the time horizon, whatever I want to focus. Is it something that is short, medium, long range, and all those information? the duration of the forecast will actually give you the different inputs or the different information that you will need. You need to select the forecasting model. Which forecasting model am I going for? When you talk about the approach, that's where you'll see the different types of forecasting. But for now, just know that you need to select the forecasting model. Then you need to gather the data. Remember, you cannot talk about the future without talking about the past. This is where you get the data, either in the past or in the present. For me to forecast how much I'm going to sell tomorrow, I need to know how much I sold today, how much I sold the day before yesterday, and all this information that will give me actually a trend toward what the customer wants. This is what we call gather the data. Then you need to make the forecast. Well, this is the practical part, and then after you validate the implement result. By validating, it means that I forecast that tomorrow I'm selling 40, and then tomorrow happens, and then how many did I sell? Did I sell what I was planning, or it just went out of control? It's not something that I planned, and in that case the forecast was not accurate. So when you look at the forecast realities, you will find out that forecasts are seldom perfect. So it means it's something that is not perfect. The chances for you to forecast that tomorrow it's gonna rain at this time until this time is very, very, very low than just saying tomorrow is gonna rain. So that's why we say forecasts are seldom perfect. Most techniques assume an underlying stability in the system. For example, right now they are saying that there will be a cure for coronavirus, and even if that vaccine comes, it will take maybe a year to 2 years before being implemented. We assume that when we're talking about that forecast, it's because we assume that there will be stability. The way, for example, the number of people are being infected, the rate at which the technology is growing, the number of doctors that we have tells us that if they are still constant like this, in 1 to 2 years, this is when we're going to be able to fight this disease. But then what happens if, for example, there's a sudden change? What happens if by any chance the cure that comes and then they can produce it faster than expected? Then that forecast is not valid anymore. So you understand that whenever we are forecasting, we need stability. If there's no stability, the forecast won't be reliable anymore. Also, product family and aggregate forecast are more accurate than individual forecast. Remember what we talked about in the previous chapter about aggregate planning. We say that aggregate planning is this planning of aggregated product. I don't know how many S10s I'm going to sell. I just know that I'm going to sell smartphones. If I say that I'm going to sell 5,000 smartphones, it's different from saying I'm going to sell 200 smartphones, out of which they're going to be 10 S10, 9 S9, or 10 S8 and all these things. So you cannot predict with accuracy. That's what I even told you about the coronavirus. When Bill Gates in 2018 said there would be a pandemic, he didn't mention the year. He just knew that at the rate people are consuming, at the rate we are treating ourselves, the environment, there are higher chances that this is what is going to happen. But he doesn't know exactly when, because forecasting, it's more easy for product families. It's more easy when you want to forecast a huge sales, but not when you want to make individual products. So next thing is the forecasting approach. So as I was saying, there are two types of approach. The first one is the qualitative and the second one is the quantitative. The qualitative approach, the one in green, generally deals with people experience. This one is not based on calculation, it's not based on numbers, it's based on experience. For example, someone will tell you that I feel like it's gonna rain by the end of the day. Why? Because it is cloudy. Or I feel like you're not going to pass this year. Why? Because you failed test 1 and test 2, and I'm pretty sure that you're not going to do well. Or I feel like this product is not going to be sold, because generally when it is sold, when before even start selling, people are interested, they ask question, but nobody's asking question about your product, so there's no need for this. I don't think that this product is going to work. So in this case, we're talking about a qualitative forecast. It is a forecast that is based on people experience, people opinion, and it is not based on fact. So you can just say that I feel like this product is gonna work. Why? Because I feel like people are motivated, people are talking about it. There's no fact, there's no proof, there's no reliable anything. We just believe that because of the gut, because of people experience, we think that this thing can work. Then we have the quantitative approach. The quantitative approach is generally based on data. We don't care about what you are thinking, we don't care about what you know, we care about data. If it tells me that yesterday I got 20, today I got 24, tomorrow there are high chances that I'll get something between 20 and 24. This is just based on fact. It is not based on feelings. It is not based on what you see, but it is based on what we have. It is based on numbers. And like they always say, numbers never lie. So under qualitative, you will find out that there are four methods: the jury of executive opinion, the Delphi method, the Salesforce composite, and the consumer market. Those are the four types of forecasting that you can use under the qualitative. Under the quantitative, you find that there's the moving average, the exponentials moving, and the trend. Those are the different three that you can find. These are not the only one, but these are the one that you are forecasting. Those are the one that we are doing mainly for the purpose of this chapter and the scope of the chapter only. So let's dig in and try to find out what about the qualitative approach. We said that there were four. The first one is the jury of executive opinion. This one is more about pool opinion of high level expert. So what happened is, like, you take people that have been in business for a while, they are experts, you call them, I want to introduce this product, what are the chances for them to work? They will tell you, for example, that what is the target market, what is the trend right now, do you think it can work, do you think it cannot work, all these things here. Then they give you their opinion based on their own experience, and you are free to take it or leave it. The Delphi method in this case, it is almost similar to the jury of executive opinion, but with that we've just have a panel of experts. We have three panels. There's the decision maker, there's the staff, and the respondent. So the staff are asking questions to the respondent. Do you think this thing can work? In a scale of 1 to 10, what do you think this is? What do you think, for example, that we can do? What is your perspective on this? Based on the response from the respondent, the decision maker now will be able to say that, okay, this product, I think it can work, I think it cannot work. Generally, they fall under focus group when you want, for example, to introduce a product. Even in movies, you'll find out that there may be people that are seated in a room. There's one person that is asking them questions, and there are other people that are monitoring the discussion, and based on the responses, they will tell you that, yeah, this thing can work, this thing cannot work. Then the Salesforce composite. This one year estimate from individual salesperson are reviewed for reasonableness, and they are aggregated. What happens if, for example, Samsung is not selling product to us as consumer directly. Samsung is selling product to retailers that retailers are selling to us. Now, there's nobody who knows how a product is going out better than the reseller, because the reseller is the one that is directly in contact with the customer. And that guy can tell you that, for example, in South Africa, iPhones are trending more than for example, Samsung. It's just an example, because they are there, they are selling, they know. So it's just normal for the manufacturer to go to the retailer and ask them, what do you think which one is the product that we can manufacture that can be sold easily, because they are the one that has the sales force, they are the one that are selling it straight to the customer, and they know better. Then you have the consumer market survey. Has it ever happened to you that you are in a mall and then there was this lady who was like, sorry, can I just have 5 minutes of your time? We are manufacturing this product here. This is what we do. This is what it can do. Would you be interested in buying our product? Those people, now they are doing consumer market survey. Sometimes they don't even want you to buy. They just want you to tell them if you like the product, if you recommend a friend, or if you have used it before, how did you heard about that, and all this, how did you hear about that, and all these things. So you find out that these people believe that the best way to know what to produce is to ask the customer, because the customer is going to use it. Maybe it's true that we can get from the retailer, but the customer is the one that's going to use. If the customer is not buying our product, what's wrong with our product? And in that case, they will tell you. So with that said, there's no method that is going to be best to say, for example, that I'm going to go for the jury, I'm going to go for the Delphi, I'm going to go for the sales, I'm going to go for the market survey. It just depends on the company, it depends on the budget, because if you want to do, for example, the jury of execution, in this of executive, in this step, you will need more money because you need to pay those people to come and do the study. While if you want to do the consumer market survey, you can do it by yourself. You just design a draft, you give it to customer based on the responses, then you can get something. But nothing tells you that one method is better than the other. It depends on the product that you want to focus. It depends also on your target market. It depends also on the budget that you have. Because if you have a small business, I don't see why you will go for, let's say you own a spaza shop, I don't see why you will go for the jury of executive, because it's going to be very expensive for you. But maybe you can go for either the self-force composite, or maybe the consumer market. Every time that the customer comes, you can put a suggestion box while they can give you suggestion about a different product, and it can help you forecast. But all of the four are just based on your thinking. They are just based on your intuition. They are not based on numbers. It's just what you think can work. Next, you have the quantitative approach. The quantitative approach, this one here, just says that we are basing our forecast with numbers. We don't care about your experience. We don't care about what you know. We are following numbers, and numbers do not lie. If yesterday I sold 50, there are chances that today I'm going to sell 50, 45, or 55. This is the naive approach. The naive approach is a thinking whereby the person is saying that the sales of tomorrow are almost going to be the same as today's sales. So if, for example, today I sold 50 units, there are higher chances that tomorrow I'll sell 50 units again. Is it right? No. Is it wrong? No. Because this depends on some businesses. Some businesses, for example, remember what we said about forecasting. Forecasting is generally seen as this one of the how do you call it again? One of the principles of forecasting is that we need to believe that there's a stability in the system, which means that whatever we have planned to be, this is what is going to come. So whatever we got yesterday, with the stability principle, we believe that the system is going to be stable. We want F, A, B, C, D, and the sales are going to be there. But whenever there's a problem that we didn't foresee, then the sales are going to be, all of them, affected. Like what I told you with the virus today, people maybe forecasted that in 2020 people are going to buy all these things, they're going to do A, B, C, D, but they didn't forecast corona. So because they didn't forecast, most of the forecast that they made now has been disrupted. Moving average, here we're just talking about averages. Yesterday I sold 20, today I sold 10, so I'm going to do an average of the 2 days. 10 plus 20 is 30, divided by 2 is 15. So I believe that tomorrow I might sell 15. This is how the moving average works. The exponential smoothing and the trend involve more calculation and more formulas, which I believe that in the next videos that we are going to do, we will talk about quantitative method. We're going to try to look at the different approach, whereby we might talk about the naive and the moving approach, and then we will talk also about other videos. But so far, thank you so much for your time. I really hope that this video was really helpful and you got at least some basics about forecasting in operation management. Just don't forget to subscribe to the page, and don't forget to share the videos. They were really insightful for you as a student and for your business. Just make sure that if you have a question, you put it under the comment section, and we are going to be able to attend to your question. So thank you so much for your time, and thank you for visualizing this video.